is hammering nails in. First of all, when you set your nail, which is what I did just now, you set it just a little bit away from you. You don't set it straight up and down because of the arc that the hammer is going to be taking. Okay? So you set it a little bit away from you, get your hand away from it. I've had a lot of people start their nails like this. I don't do that. And here, if I'm going to hit something, I've got a little bit of leeway. When I'm like this, it hurts. Okay? So, when you're driving nails, your shoulder, your elbow should not move. The only movement is in your wrist. Okay? And when you do what I just did, because I'm nervous. Okay, hopefully that showed that just my wrist was moving. I'll prove that out in a little bit. Okay? To get that nail back out, you're going to have to end up destroying this part of your wood. This is a cat's paw. Simply goes up underneath. Pull it up. Can somebody grab me a small tube before? And pull it up. Don't pull it up any further than about an inch to inch and a half out of the wood. Then take a 2x4 and get up underneath it, and it comes right out. Okay? Otherwise, you're going to be fighting it, and if you have a wooden hammer, wooden handled hammer, you'll end up breaking this off right through here. Okay? Okay, that's a quick review on that one. Hand saws. One of the first things I want you to know, never lay a hand saw on top of anything metal. Okay? What happens is these the teeth are set just like this. And if you knock that point off right out here on the end, it dulls them. It doesn't, you don't knock it off on the inside, but it's this outside part that does all the cutting. That part right there, you've got to keep sharp. So taking the saw, throwing it down like that, what you're doing is dulling this part on the edge of your saws. So lay them down, lay them down. Okay? They're not that expensive, 35, 40 bucks. You can buy a new saw. Okay? I don't want to do that. I want to keep these saws for a long time. Back in my day and older, you basically had two saws. One of them was called a crosscut saw, and what it did was it cut across the grain. The teeth on the crosscut saw was pretty narrow, and they were, fairly close together. The other saw was called a rip saw, and what it did, it ripped with the grain. The teeth on it was a lot wider and bigger. And the reason for that is when you start cutting or start ripping the wood, what happens is when you start, you get 2 or 3 inches down, the wood itself will start to pinch together. It doesn't do that when you cross cut, but it will do that when you're ripping it. So the teeth are wider, they make a wider saw curve, therefore you can get further down before it actually pinches together. Sometimes you'll see some of the old shows where somebody's ripping a piece of wood and they stick a screwdriver in right here at the end. What that does is that keeps that wood from pinching the blade. It separates it, holds it out. Today, they have what they call a combination saw. I don't know how they do it, but it works. Not as good as a crosscut, not as good as a rip saw. It's kind of in between the two. So you can use this same saw to do both. Okay? Are you videotaping?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. To do this for this class or for this project, first thing I want you to do is to use a speed square. Draw a line across the top. Draw a line across the front and draw a line across the back. Now, when you're actually cutting on the job, the only line you're going to put is on the top and you're going to go. The reason I want the other two lines on here is because as you are tight or as you're cutting, I want you to be able to see from the back side and from the front side, are you following that line down, or are you angling? Are you bringing it in? You know, are you cutting straight, or are you cutting it at an angle? I want you to be able to see where you start making a mistake. Most of the time people grab a hold of hand saws like this. That is incorrect. You need to put your trigger finger or index finger out front. That will give you stability going that way. If you don't, you have no stability either way. But by putting your index finger out there, that makes a lot tougher for it to bend out. And you can still bend it in. That's where this knuckle, right here on the end of your thumb, comes into play. Okay? That knuckle goes right over the line. You think, well, how about that, getting cut by the teeth? No, once you make one pull back on your it's going to be a hodgepodge here. Once you make one pull back, you've got a little bit of a saw kerf in there. That means that all of these teeth are now below the top or the surface of the wood. Okay? A lot of people, when they first start cutting, this is what they do. It's right here in the middle. What you want to do is a full length cut. Okay? Now, this is a combination saw. And you can see it's ripping it out here. It does not make a good cut. Not as good as what a true crosscut saw would do. My feet, they're not parallel, they're not straight with the wood. I'm just at a comfortable stance to where my hand, my elbow, and my shoulder can all be in a straight line. Okay? I don't have my elbow out. I'm not wanting to cut back into your chest or cut outward. You're wanting to cut straight line. The dryness of this wood, when you get down close to the end, you want to let up on your pressure a little bit and just let the saw guide, slide, and it'll cut right off. Okay? Any questions on how to run a saw? How many of you have not used a hand saw before? Okay. And this will be pretty valuable for you. Any questions? Okay, cut the video.